Good evening and welcome to the On Show, a series that shows you everything that's on in the Swansea area. This week we'll be catching up with Barry McElroy, a local theatre director based in Britain Ferry, in our Coffee with Keith feature. We'll also be hearing from Jamie Rees, who will be telling us all about a production of Goodnight Mr. Tom. But first, we'll take a look at who Caitlin Harris caught up with down at the Glenvivian.
So Katie, what's going on with Glenvivian at the moment?
Well, we've got two exhibitions, and the first is Helen Sear. She represented Wales in the Venice Biennale in 2015. This is the first time that this work has been shown here in the gallery or in the UK, so it's a really exciting exhibition to have here in the gallery. Yes, so Helen's work is about kind of the landscape. It's kind of about the landscape of Wales. She lives in Raglan on the borders, and it's based in a forest near where she lives. And it's all about the idea of that this landscape is going to be destroyed, or wood is marked for deforestation and kind of those kind of things. And it's also about the body and the relationship between the landscape and the body.
So it's preserving this art, this forest, at least in art, if not physically for
yes, a lot of film and photography. Another piece of work with the beginning and the end of things is a beautiful projection on the floor of trees, kind of. It's as if you were looking up to see the trees moving around in the kind of different seasons, but it's projected on the floor so you can walk into it and feel that you're kind of falling into this deep puddle. And also there's another piece of work called Stack. Stack was a beautiful work made up of 32 kind of strips of photographs that have been log pile ready to be used or changed. And the verticals are a way for Helen to kind of make the work, the trees, stand up again.
How important is it to have these sort of exhibitions in Swansea and Glenvivian?
We really strive to show the best art we can, of kind of cross disciplines and different medias, of emerging. It's good to support established Welsh artists like Helen and give them a platform to show their work.
So how long can people see the exhibit?
The exhibition is here till the 18th of November. Helen is doing a talk on the 21st of October at 3 o'clock in the gallery. She's in conversation with Stuart Cameron, who is the curator of the exhibition.
So all of it's open to the public?
Yeah, that's open to the public. You can book on our website. It's free to book, but it's great to come and take part in it.
So thanks so much for speaking to me, Katie. This all sounds so amazing, and I really hope it's more exhibition.
Thank you.
Thanks, Caitlin. That exhibition is titled Helen Sear, The Rest is Smoke, and you can visit it at the Glenvivian until the 19th of November. Up next, we'll be hearing from director Jamie Rees, who met with our very own Keith Millward to talk about Goodnight Mr. Tom.
So here we are. We're at Neath Little Theatre, Western Moor Road in Neath, and today we're talking to Jamie Rees, director of Goodnight Mr. Tom. So let's go across to Jamie.
It was a story I knew, as a lot of people know, from the novel by McElroy.
Oh yes.
Of course, which a lot of people love. And also, of course, there was the TV adaptation with John Thor. So it was in the consciousness, if you know what I mean. And there was a touring version of this particular play version, which did the rounds a couple of years ago. And I was lucky enough to see that. And I thought, oh, that would be a good one to do, should it come up. And indeed, it has come up. So we've jumped on it and we've gone for it. It's the Second World War, so it's period piece for a start. So obviously we've had that sort of layer of difficulty as well. It's a particularly large cast, which is lovely, but obviously brings its own sort of pressures as well. We have multiple settings, so technically it's a very difficult play with lights and sound. And there's a puppet dog.
Yes.
And of course you have parts played by children. So, you know, in terms of that, all these sort of extra layers just add to the complexity of it, really. The society started in 1935. We've been in our building at Westmoor Road since 1955. Prior to that, they performed at the Gwyn Hall in Neath. And so we're very lucky in that we have our own building we can rehearse in and stage our productions in. So I would implore anyone who's never been to come along and have a look, come and see the production. And if you think you might want to join up, please come along. We have regular Thursday club nights as well, where there's nearly always something on, a play, a short play, a reading, or a social evening, and you come along and meet people and get involved. So it runs from the 16th to the 21st of October at Neath Little Theatre, and you can get tickets by telephoning 01639 643462, or you can go to our website www.neathlittletheatre.co.uk.
Thanks, Jamie, for taking the time to talk with us. Of course, if you can get yourselves down to the Little Theatre in Neath, Goodnight Mr. Tom is on until the 21st of October. Up next, we have another clip from Keith, meeting with Barry McIlroy for a coffee.
So Barry McElroy, thank you for being
My pleasure.
guest and coffee with Keith. And I'm just wondering what your first memories are of the theatre.
My first memories of the theatre go back to 1958. Don't be fooled by my boyish good looks. I was taken to see Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella at the London Coliseum.
What do you remember of that show?
I remember the spectacle and the magic. And in fact, there was one little scene in it where Cinderella left the ball and it was in ultraviolet and it was dancing grandfather clocks and plants.
So how did you get involved then with theatre? As an actor or as a director? How did that all happen?
Well, it just seemed to be something that I just leaned towards. I started off with puppets.
Oh, right.
Tell
us more.
I'm a member of the British Puppet and Model Theatre Guild, which is the puppeteer's equivalent to the Magic Circle.
You have acted as well, haven't you?
Oh, yes. I started... really, when I left school and got a proper job, I then went on to act as a hobby. And from there, I started to direct on a semi-professional basis. And then 34 years ago, I said, well, this is it. I might as well go for it. I was getting asked to do shows further and further afield, so I couldn't hold down a job and be at rehearsals 30 miles away. So I turned professional 34 years ago.
And you have worked around the country. I know that you've done work in Salisbury and Wellingborough as well as South Wales.
Yes.
And now, after having worked on productions here for almost 30 years, you've decided to move to this area.
Oh, yes.
So what has made that decision?
That decision was made about 25 years ago. Having done a few shows for Britain Ferry, and I was commuting for 4 or 5 weeks a year, I knew that I instantly felt at home in the surrounding areas. I love the place, and more importantly, I love the people of South Wales.
And your favourite pieces, your favourite plays, your favourite musicals over the years?
One of my favourites is Blood Brothers. I just love Blood Brothers with a passion.
For what reason?
For what reason? I can empathise with the boys in it, in as much as that they are a similar sort of age. They were born sort of mid to late 50s. When they're in their teenage years, they move from the city to the country, which is exactly what I did. I moved from my home town of Battersea in London up to a Northamptonshire market town as it was then. So I can sort of relate to them. And I do love coming of age pieces, things that tell a story.
Thank you, Keith Millward and Barry McElroy, for meeting for a coffee there and giving us an insight into the life of a theatre director. But before we go, we have time just for our weekly roundup of what's on in the Swansea area. Saturday brings back Premier League action to Swansea for the second week running after the international break. And against Leicester, the Swans will be looking to get another win after taking just 3 points last time against Huddersfield. Saturday also brings the German Festival to Swansea, to the Branwyn Hall, this time starting off Swansea's Oktoberfest as it returns after last year's sellout. With fine, real German ales from across the breadth of Germany, you'll be sure to find something you like. You can find tickets at www.beerfestuk.com/Swansea. But if you're out in the evenings this week, any time before the weekend, why not have a look at Andrew Lloyd Webber's Sunset Boulevard, starring our very own Rhea Jones. It'll be on every evening at the Grand Theatre this week, and even have matinees on Thursday and also Saturday. And if you're looking for something to take the kids to, the Swansea Waterfront Museum has a big draw, Living History, on the 21st of October. And the volcano has hidden stories, and it's a photography exhibition. That's on Thursday the 19th. And in Port Talbot, the Princess Royal Theatre has a children's ballet of Wales presenting Spooky Spectacular. But until then, that's all we have time for. Good night.